Let's take some calls, Professor. We're talking about political unrest in Pakistan. Dallas, you're first up. You're on the air.
Yes, I have exactly 3 questions for the professor. One of the questions is the Pakistani people that elected President Musharraf, are they predominantly Muslim, or is the people that elected the president, is there different types of groups, or is it predominantly Muslim? That's one question. 2, when President Musharraf overthrew the Chief Justice, was that seen to the Pakistani people as a move towards dictatorship or absolutism? And 3, what is the mood of the Pakistani people? Do they seem to favor U.S. policy intervening in Pakistan? Are they favorable to us?
Thank you, caller. Let's get answers to those 3 questions.
Right. The first question, Pakistan is a predominantly Muslim country. Muslims constitute about 97% of population, which means around 3% are non-Muslim. And to the second question, the president,
whether or not this move is seen as being toward dictatorship, or your
yes,
view?
I think the basic criticism is that President Musharraf pursues the policy what is described as centralization of power, and since the judiciary was still somewhat independent, and the impression is that he tried to remove the Chief Justice in order to bring the judiciary under his thumb. So it was seen as a step in the direction of centralization of power and monopolization of power.
And the third was the Pakistan attitude toward the U.S.
Yes, there is a mixed attitude in Pakistan. So far as the objectives of fighting terrorism is concerned, it's widely shared. But the American policy at the international level is greatly criticized at the common person level. American policies in the Middle East, Iraq, and even Afghanistan is criticized at the common person level. Especially the Islamic groups are more critical, whereas the other groups are not so critical. Therefore, there is a mixed attitude towards the American policy in Pakistan.
How popular is President Musharraf?
Well, it's difficult to judge popularity because you don't really have public opinion survey in that respect. However, if we look at the way things have moved since March 9th, when the Chief Justice was suspended, it seems that opposition to his government has grown. It has become widespread in the sense that it is to be found in all provinces, and with the exception of the ruling party and its partner, most other parties are actively involved. That has reached up to the middle class sections of the population, but common people have to be mobilized and brought into the process.
Next call for Hasan-Askari Rizvi comes from San Diego on our Democrats line.
Yes, with considering the history of the Pakistan, always America supported the military dictators such as Ayub Khan, Yahya Khan, Zia-ul-Haq, and Musharraf, and their coup against the democratically elected governments.
I think that observation is true. Because the relations of the military regimes of Pakistan have been very cordial with the United States. But there is another dimension to that. Military has ruled that country for such a long period of time that the foreign governments, whether it's the American government or any other government, end up dealing with these military government, and in order to promote their national interest, they have started supporting the military government, non-democratic government, although in principle the U.S. subscribes to promotion of democracy at the international level.
Woodbridge, Virginia.
Yeah, I wanted to ask a question and make a quick statement real quick. First of all, when he leaves office, I'm wondering if the next guy that comes in will be more friendly to the United States or whatever. I know Musharraf has done a pretty good job. being an ally. But it just seems like most of the Muslims in the Middle East hate us just because we're Americans, it seems like. And the other thing is, I just want to quickly thank the guy from England that called in and had the kind words to say about the United States. My girlfriend Tracy's in Wolverhampton, England, and I just want to say hi to her. She's listening. Thank you.
Well, if there is a change of government in Pakistan, it appears that the constitution will be followed. There is a very clearly laid out procedure for that, and any new government will work with the United States for a number of reasons. There may be stylistic differences, but they will work with the United States. You do hear criticism of the American policies, but that criticism does not mean that Pakistan will have a government which will take 180-degree turn. Relationship with the US would continue, although stylistic differences would be there.
Email came in. If ISI stages a coup and gets control of Pakistan's nuclear weapons, what are the consequences? And what is ISI?
Well, ISI is an intelligence agency which has over the year become very powerful. In fact, it became powerful against the backdrop of the resistance to Soviet military intervention in Afghanistan in the 80s, and it now plays a role in the domestic politics as an arm of the military. It is not expected to stage a coup. I think the military in Pakistan is disciplined, and they will be important factor in any political change in Pakistan, since at the moment there is a lot of opposition to military's expanded role. It seems that if Musharraf goes out of office, the military will see to it that there is a constitutional transfer of power, because there is a lot of resentment against the military at the popular level.
Hasan-Askari Rizvi is a visiting Pakistan Studies professor at Johns Hopkins University. He was on the faculty, the political science faculty for Punjab University for 30 years. He taught at Columbia for 4 years, professor of Pakistan Studies. He got his PhD at the University of Pennsylvania, his master's at the University of Pennsylvania. He also has a master's from the University of Leeds and a master's from the University of the Punjab. Next call comes from London. London, you're on the air.
Hello. My question for the professor is, what is the status and how the elite, and by myself, you would fall into the elite, well-educated outside the United States. Now, I'm a physician in London. Who is trained with Pakistan, or who has trained Pakistanis to go back to their country, what is their status in what is going on now in Pakistan?
The question doesn't seem to be clear.
He was talking about elites, educated elites. What is their status? Where are they standing on the issues? I think is
all right.
Perhaps where he was headed.
Yes, Pakistani elite is divided on political grounds. Who are politically active? Some would support the government, others would oppose it. And at the moment, there is a very widespread criticism of the government, because government is not viewed as being a representative or a democratic government. And this elite, Pakistani elite, is either educated in Pakistan, and then the good number of them are educated in the English-speaking world outside, especially in England and also in the United States. Some get education in Australia, but mainly in the US and England, and they are well versed with the modern notions of governance and political management and participatory and representative government.